Theodore Roethke's work grew more abstract and spiritualistic over time. Towards his later career, he was really moving out into very numinous verse. But one of the more famous works that he came up with that is showing progress in that direction comes out in the early 50s. It is The Waking. It is the title poem of the book that for which he won the Pulitzer Prize. And the poem itself is really quite mysterious and haunting in a way that is much less tethered to the real world, the objective world, than a lot of his earlier stuff. I wake to sleep and take my waking slow. I feel my fate in what I cannot fear. I learn by going where I have to go. We think by feeling. What is there to know? I hear my being dance from ear to ear. I wake to sleep and take my waking slow. Of those so close beside me, which are you? God bless the ground. I shall walk softly there and learn by going where I have to go. Light takes the tree, but who can tell us how? The lowly worm climbs up the winding stair. I wake to sleep and take my waking slow. Great nature has another thing to do to you and me, so take the lively air and, lovely, learn by going where to go. This shaking keeps me steady. I should know what falls away is always and is near. I wake to sleep and take my waking slow. I learn by going where I have to go. Now this is a villanelle. We've seen that before. The refrain of those two lines. The I wake to sleep and take my waking slow. I learn by going where I have to go. That is a refrain that comes back at the end of each of those ensuing stanzas and then comes back as a kind of couplet at the very end. And they're all three, the villanelle's form is 3-line stanzas, and then at the end is a quad, 4 lines. And it's a very mysterious piece. That musical quality of the villanelle, which is often so playful, is played against something that's really quite disturbing. That wake to sleep. You are waking into sleepiness. Now, is that you are waking into life, which is a kind of unconsciousness? Here you're getting a sense of some real Jungian psychology coming in. But more than anything, I would say it's just a sense of this very abstract and mysterious dual plane reality where we are living in one world and having a sense of something else, another parallel universe, if you will. The world of the unseen, which plays such a role in all of his work, all of Theodore Roethke's work. The musicality itself does break down over time. By the time you get halfway through, it starts to play around a little bit. The lowly worm climbs up a winding stair. It's not necessarily clear what he's saying there. It is very abstract. It is very difficult. It's a knotty little psychological image that is almost Poundian in its reduction. Great nature has another thing to do to you and me, so take the lively air and, lovely, learn by going where you have to go. You hear those commas coming in. You hear the weird enjambment in the middle. You're not sure exactly what is being said at any time, but still you are being lilted along by this mellifluous quality of the form, but the understanding of it is somehow fractured. It's becoming much more opaque. So there's this problematic quality to it, which mirrors, of course, the ultimate subject of the poem, which is the mysteries of the unseen. I wake to sleep and take my waking slow. That sense of being between consciousness and unconsciousness and looking around and being somehow hyper aware of the limitations of your perceptions and the faulty imagery that we get in our objective world. And so it is nudging towards that direction of a kind of sensory experience of aesthetics beyond the intellectual capacity. Here we're getting much more into, I would say, mid-century surrealism almost, mid-century abstraction. The painting of that era tend to be non-representational, post-impressionist. It is irreducible to clean ideas and objective reality. And so we are left to struggle in that interstitial space of not knowing, of not being in one world or another, but of being between the two, which gives us a perspective and a vantage point on those two. I wake to sleep and take my waking slow, and so I'm not awake, but I'm not really asleep, but I'm watching. And here Rothke is getting really, really quiet. And it's almost like he doesn't want to disturb the numinous world that he is watching. And he doesn't want to jar himself awake in the conscious world that he seems to be trying to leave behind, or is at least reluctant to return to. It's a eerie poetic position that suggests way more than it says, but ultimately resolves that as a poet, that's really all he can do.